Hi Nadia,
Hey.
thanks for waiting.
No worries.
How are you today?
Not too bad, yeah.
Well, my name's Catherine, so I'm going to be your lawyer for today. So how'd you find the trip here?
Not too bad. I caught the train, so it's pretty seamless trip. But they're doing construction in Macquarie Uni Station, so it took about an extra 10-15 to get here.
Oh wow, yeah. And the weather's pretty bad today as well.
I know, it's so dreary. So random compared to like all the sunny days that we've been having lately.
Yeah, and at the beginning of spring as well.
I know, yeah.
What are you doing at the moment? Uni or the
Yeah, I'm doing commerce at uni at the moment.
Okay, yeah. How are you finding that?
Yeah, not too bad. It's probably not what I would have originally thought for myself in terms of a degree, but yeah, it's going pretty alright at the moment.
Okay, yeah. And are you working at all?
Yeah, just in retail at the moment.
Okay.
So not in a firm or anything, but it's good.
Yeah. Well, how are you finding retail? Like,
Yeah,
is that as bad as it sounds?
Oh yeah, it's crazy, especially at Christmas, which is sort of what we're prepping for at the moment.
Oh, yeah,
but yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah. Well, so have you met any lawyers before, or is this your first time meeting?
No, I've definitely engaged with lawyers. So my dad's got a friend who owns a firm, so I've sort of done some experience at that firm.
Oh, wow,
But I've never met with a lawyer in this sort of a capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so obviously you've met us before. You don't need to be anxious or stressed about what we're doing.
Mhm.
You know. So the purpose of this meeting here today is basically just to get to know you a bit, and to get your side of the story. So obviously, I mean, there's like a lot of like discrepancies between facts usually, but like today we just want to know what you think about the situation and like what you need from us. So before we start, there's a few housekeeping things that we need to do. So there's water, and then the bathrooms are just outside to the left. And I'll be taking notes today. Feel free to take some if you want to do. And just one last thing about confidentiality. So everything you tell me will be confidential, unless you give me instructions to disclose it to someone else, or under like extreme circumstances, if like there was a serious threat to your safety, or there's a threat of death.
Yeah.
But everything will generally be between you and the firm and me.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so let's start off by, why don't you tell me a bit about what's been happening?
So I moved down to Sydney a few months ago because Mum was getting sick. So she's at a point now where she's almost completely mentally incapacitated. So she has more bad moments than she does good. I've got 3 older siblings, and so we've sort of at the beginning we rallied together to see what the best sort of plan of action was in terms of how to take care of Mum. So that's when because they were married and they have kids of their own, we came to the conclusion that because I wasn't in that position, that coming down to Sydney and staying with Mum would be the best option. And I was sort of more than happy to do that because Mum and I are quite close, and I think it's important that I'm here for her during this period. And yeah, so we've been seeing a doctor, and we're pretty sure that she's sort of in the early stages of dementia. She's getting older, and Dad's passed away a few years ago, so I think that took a bit of a toll on her as well. Yeah, but in the past couple of months, Mum's been having sort of chats on and off with me about wanting to amend her will so that the estate would be bequeathed to me when she passes away. It's currently written so that when she does pass away, the estate will be transferred into the names of all of my siblings. But I think Mum and I have had a chat and decided that, she's sort of told me that she's keen to just have that written into my name as opposed to my siblings as well.
How does your siblings feel about it? Have you talked to them about it?
Yeah, I mean, we've sort of had a few conversations here and there about it, and I think they're dealing with it pretty alright. Like I said, they've got their own families and they've got their own kids, and so because I'm not in a position like that, I think Mum was a bit more keen to sort of give it over to me, and because I've been here with Mum, and they recognise that I've been here supporting Mum. They also are pretty okay with that from what I've understood by our conversation so far.
Okay. Yeah, so basically, your siblings are like happy to kind of get a bit less of like the property in exchange for you doing the like helping your mum a bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I've understood from what they've told me anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how have you found the move from where you previously lived to Sydney?
So I lived in Victoria, and it was obviously different being in Victoria and Sydney based on just like any sort of demographic issue, context and everything. But it's kind of been different because I've moved from living and working independently to now living with mum in Sydney, and obviously Sydney's my hometown, so it's not a drastic change. I'm sort of just coming back home, but it's been about 20 odd years since I've been back in Sydney, and acclimatising to that change and seeing the nurses and mum being in the state that she's in has been a little bit confronting. So it's definitely been something that I've needed to get used to and deal with, not just physically but also within a mental space. But yeah, it's been alright so far.
Yeah. Did you find it difficult to leave your life there and just kind of pack up and move?
Yeah, well, there was a change in my employment situation. Because of that, I sort of it became easier. So if that change hadn't occurred, then I probably wouldn't have found it as easy to pick everything up and just pop over to mum. But because that change did occur in the end, it was a lot easier for me to be able to come over back to Sydney and help out with mum.
And how are you finding living with your mum? How are you cooperating with the nurses? Or?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, the house isn't small, so at least there's the physical space aspect to it. The nurses are really great. Obviously, they respond to all of mum's medical demands. In terms of what I do, it's pretty structured in the sense that they'll respond to that side of her needs, and I'll be there for sort of emotional support, and when she doesn't want the nurses to shower her because she's being confrontational or she's scared or anxious, which is what we're seeing more of recently. She gets freaked out that the carers and the nurses are reading her fridge at night, sort of thing. So that's the sort of paranoia that we're dealing with. So I think while she's in a space where she's still able to have those good moments, it's important for us to be able to amend the will so that she's making this decision in the right mind to an extent. Yeah.
Okay, so you've mentioned that the nurses she's really suspicious of the nurses stealing her things and taking her food.
Yeah.
Do you know around about when that began? Before you moved in, or
I think, she's definitely deteriorated since I've moved in. So I moved in 5 months ago, and she was suffering from sort of early symptoms a few months before I moved down to Sydney, and then it sort of started to escalate, and because it's escalating at such a quick rate according to everything that medical professionals have been saying, that's when we made the decision, my siblings and I, for me to move down. But when I first moved in, she was okay. It was kind of at a point where she was good for a really long period of time, and then she'd have some bad moments. And I think that's definitely escalated now to a point where she's having more bad moments and fewer good moments. But in terms of when the paranoia and the anxiety sort of began to really hit hard, it was probably about 2 to 3 months ago. So about 2 months into me being in Sydney.
Okay, yeah. So just for me to confirm what I've understood. So basically you moved about half a year ago, 5 months, and since then your mum's condition has deteriorated quite a bit, and now she's suspicious of basically anyone that's not in the family, or nurses and everyone around her, and then so because she's really thankful to you for taking care of her since then, while your siblings were kind of busy with their own lives and their families, she's decided to amend her will, so that you get more of it, or to take complete take
essentially, so that the whole estate's transferred into my name.
And so your siblings obviously aren't happy about that, but they've agreed that since you've taken your time out to take care of her, they're fine with that. Were you and your siblings close growing up?
They were a lot older than me, and so when I was sort of in primary school, they were in high school, and when I was in high school, they were in uni. So because we were at very different points in our lives throughout lots of major events, we weren't very, very close. But I was also pretty close to mum because I didn't have that relationship with my siblings, so I think I relied on my mum quite a bit more in order to,
Okay. So basically your siblings are, I guess, almost, so by the time when you were growing up, they've kind of progressed with their lives, and they've moved on to uni, or moved out. So you were always closer to your mum. Were there any instances, do you think, that you and your sibling just didn't agree with what was good for your mum's medical treatment this time around?
Nothing significant that I can remember thus far. I think so far everyone's been quite cooperative. I think the issue that's caused the biggest strain was the issue of her wanting to amend the will so that they wouldn't be a part of it. But like we've established, though that was something that they weren't completely keen on to begin with, it was ultimately something that they had to warm to because that was something that Mum wanted. So they had to kind of just come to terms with it and be amicable about the decision.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's all the questions I have for today. Were there any questions you had for me?
No, not for today.
Okay. Thanks for meeting with me.
No
I'll get in touch as soon as I can, and I'll let you know the next steps.